almost done. Not much to go on. And this class was started in, I heard about this through an email, in Anekatti also. And about this place, Pujya Swamiji stopped taking it. Don't know why. So we'll also stop after today. I'm just going to summarize this, and other things are there to look at and move on towards. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The Vivekachudamani is a complete text in the sense that it has everything, It has appetizer, a few of them actually, and then it has soup and first course, second course, 6 of them, sadhana, all these 6 sadhanas, how to qualify for this knowledge, etc. Those are all the first courses. Then it has the main dish, which is the analysis of the Mahavakya, which is where we are right now. And then there is a discussion on the dessert, which is in the form of fruit. What is the fruit? The fruit of this knowledge. Yeah. How many ways I can enjoy it? What are the lakshanas? The way in which the person of knowledge behaves. And then finally there is the aperitif, which is what? There is no karma for the jnani, a discussion of the jnani and the karma. So that's why it satisfies, because it's not just a little snack, a Vedantic snack that leaves you hungering for more. It's not just something right in the middle without antecedent, precedent, and without summing it up. It's a complete meal which leaves one satisfied. And it's also different from a meal, because even if you have an elaborate 5-course dinner, how long it will satisfy you? 3 hours, maybe 4. After that you go foraging in the cabinets again. What shall I cook? What shall I eat? What is there? Oh my God, I forgot to cook. Now I'm too hungry. This is the story of life, right? But this knowledge, the feeding on this knowledge is what? Permanent. Because it is you. And you are not temporary. We know that. Because whenever I say, are you here? You say, yes. So we know that the I is not subject to time, and it's not subject to any kind of limitations. So the knowledge of this I satiates and it suffices, so that there is no need to forage anymore. No distractions, no fears, nothing can shake once this knowledge is gained. And in fact, after studying Vedanta for so many years, none of you can say, I do not know. I mean, you can, but I will not allow it. You have to say, at the most, I'm in the process of knowing. Because it's not that you don't know. You know, how long does it take to say Tattvamasi? Not even 10 seconds. How long does it take to teach that? Not much time at all. But there is a knowing which is it's a knowledge. If one is not enjoying the fruits of the knowledge, it's a knowledge that is inhibited by some what? That's right. Raga and
Precious.
that's what. there are certain inhibiting factors, little dust bunnies that need to be swept up. Yeah. With the broom of prayer, worshipful attitude and seva. That is the broom. And so these dust bunnies of raga and dvesha have to be swept away, because the knowledge is there. It's abiding in the heart. It is what one wants. It is what one knows to want. What is happening is that, either of two things, that the raga dveshas are inhibiting the knowledge, or the preparation is lacking. Both. Sometimes the preparation is lacking because the raga dveshas are inhibiting. So you don't know which starts first, right? So therefore the Vedanta, taught according to the Vivekachudamani, it's a very honest text. Tells you things as it is. And we saw how it began. It says this human incarnation is a huge blessing, because it's only in this incarnation that you can gain this knowledge. I was telling this in Atlanta. I was saying that, I'm told that dogs and cats regularly attend my online classes. They laughed. they thought it was very funny. So, even though the dog might sit and attend the online class, and if I say, hello doggy, hello dog, you are actually God, it's just going to wag its tail and say woof woof. Even if I don't say it, it's going to do the same thing. It's not going to, it's not going to say really. So I just have to correct the spelling in my name. That's all. It's as simple. It's not going to happen. So therefore it talks about what a blessing this human birth is. Well, I guess I'm, giving the whole summary. I just realized that. How wonderful. Great, of the whole book. Not just from where we left off, because who remembers where we left off and who remembers what went before, correct? So it's good to have the whole thing in one sweep. And so here, it begins with it begins with somehow, counting the fortunes. The great fortune of being, three fortunes, three strokes of good luck that we find ourselves, that the student who's reading this is finding himself or herself in the position. One is what? Human birth. What is the next one? 3 M's. Manushyatvam, Mumukshutvam, what is that?
Having the desire.
Having the desire, no, that is Jignasutvam. Having the desire to be free of a sense of bondage. And then, what is the third M?
The teacher.
Yes, but that starts with a T. How is it? How is it an M? Mahapurusha Samshraya. Mahapurusha here means teacher. A great, personality, a great person, taking refuge because the mumukshutvam itself is not enough. The mumukshutvam, I seek freedom, but I'm already free, but how come I don't know it? That leads to jignasutvam, and the jignasutvam leads to the desire for gaining this knowledge, which is that. And then from the jignasutvam, since I already am free but I don't know it, I have to find this knowledge, I have to gain this knowledge through somebody who knows, and the search for the teacher begins. It tells, very clearly. That is the first thing that it drops several bombshells. So the first things it dropped, the first bombshell is, don't underestimate this fortune, the threefold fortune that you have been granted in terms of the human birth, the capacity to know and recognize a sense of bondage, and the capacity to be free from that through knowledge, and also that you have, if you are studying this, you have already encountered a teacher. Don't take any of this lightly. Bombshell number 1, okay? Then the second bombshell, it drops. It's very interesting. It says that karma cannot give knowledge. What is karma? Action. Action cannot give knowledge. Why cannot action give knowledge? Finite. And what do I want? The infinite, which is myself. So the action, the product of action is finite because the action itself is finite. So the infinite cannot be cooked up through finite means. Second bombshell. And so therefore what? If I don't know I am whole, I am limitless, I am free, I have to expose myself to this knowledge. How long? How many years? Not too long. Whose answer is this? Lord Krishna teaching in the Bhagavad Gita. Achirena adhigacchati. Achirena means not too long hence the person will gain this knowledge. So, this is what it is, and that's the second bombshell. That you can keep on doing action, till you drop dead, but you're not going to gain this knowledge. You're just going to get exhausted. Yeah. Your karma is not going to get exhausted, you are going to get exhausted. There's a big difference. Your body is going to get exhausted. And then what? The third bombshell is that every knowledge needs a prerequisite. Every knowledge presupposes a certain prerequisite. You want to go to college, what do you have to do? You have to get a high school diploma, right? So even in kindergarten these days they are having graduation. Yeah. You want to go to first grade, you finish all these. KG, and then there is pre-KG. Pre-KG. In India, this is all. There is one KG, which is kindergarten. Before that there is pre-KG. Upper KG, lower KG. All this before the poor child weighs a kg. You put it in these things. And so, this is a slight aside, but the Vedas, in the Vedic, from the Vedic knowledge, what we gain about the upbringing of the child is that it should be with the parents until it's 4 or 5 years old. At least in the olden times, that's what was followed. So Swamiji started a school where the caregiver would come along with the child, and there would be certain activities for the caregiver in the other room, and the child would also be taught, and suddenly the child would miss mother, father, grandmother, uncle, whoever had come, and it would run and just touch base, hug the mother and go, or father, or whatever it is, and then go back to playing, and that was allowed. It was very nice. So anyway, so the whole thing is this, that there is a prerequisite. That is the whole discussion. There is a prerequisite to gaining this knowledge. And what are they? Yeah. Viveka. Let's start with, we can't forget Viveka. What is the title of this book? Yeah, we can't forget that. Viveka. Viveka means discrimination between what? Between white chocolate, milk chocolate and dark chocolate. Right? Yeah?
What's fine?
Nitya and Anitya. Anitya is what I don't want. Nitya is what I want. So I have to have that discrimination. Then what? Once I determine that this is what I want, this is now easier said than done. Once I determine I want Nitya, then all the distractions I should be willing to let go. Oh, I was with you till then, till just now, until you mentioned this, I was okay. I was actually enjoying the class. What have you done? Killjoy teacher. Vivekachudamani says this. Vairagya means a dispassion towards the fruits of action. So therefore, I'm not always, like the bird that flits about in the Mundakopanishad gathering karma, eating the fruits of karma. I'm not like that bird. I just sit down and allow things to just unfold. And so I drop the things that I need not do. Yeah. And we have many kinds of karmas that one does. They are classified as following. One is called Nitya Karma. Nitya Karma means things that has to be done every day. Like puja has to be done every day. Puja to the body, like shower, brushing teeth has to be done every day. And eating is done every day. These all come under nitya karma, things that is to be done every day. Then there are occasional karmas, in Sanskrit naimittika karma. Like, a potluck, no. Like, like going to, going to some function, a potluck, going to a yajna or something like that. And some occasional things, pradosha, naimittika karma. And then there is this thing, but if it's in a consecrated temple, it becomes a part of nitya karma. It's very interesting. So, but if somebody else attends the pradosha, that for them it is naimittika karma. Then we have nitya karma, naimittika karma. Then we have another category of karma, those that are not to be done, but I do them because I want to do them. What are they? Kamya karma, based on my desires. I really want this to happen, so I'm going to do this. So that is, kamya karma. And then there are certain things which should never be done, correct? Yeah, like kill, cheat, defraud, those are all bad karmas. So those are called nishiddha karma, prohibitory actions. Actions that are completely not sanctioned by dharma. And then finally there is something called prayaschitta karma, atonement for the number 4. Which was number 4? Things not to be done. Because it's one thing to say I should not do these things, right? Yeah, is that enough to say that? No, because being fallible, it will happen that one may do these things, but there is an atonement. And what is this atonement? It's a private affair between you and God, Ishvara. You don't have to advertise it, you don't have to do anything. You just, fast, or, you do japa. You do japa, you get to a place of calmness, you offer some extra prayers. That's what it is. So, this is something which is very, very interesting. So, we have 5 kinds of karma. Daily karma, occasional karma, and then what? Desire, things that are, karma spurred by desires. Number 3. Number 4, not to do karmas, prohibitory karmas. And number 5, atonement karmas. Now, if vairagya means give up karma, right? Which one should I give up out of these? Which ones to retain? Which one to give up? Yeah, kamya you have to give up. You cannot say, I have vairagya towards what? Combing hair and brushing teeth. No, that's not going to work for knowledge. It's not going to work for knowledge. And I give up atonement karma. I'm never going to atone and feel bad about anything or have a place. Feel bad, of course one will, but have a place to channel that feeling of, that feeling guilty. No, you cannot do that. The occasional karmas cannot be given up. The daily karmas cannot be given up. The atonement karmas cannot be given up. And the nishiddha karmas, of course, you should give them up, but the thing is what? Sometimes one indulges in them, even without wanting to. So finally, what is to be really in our hands to give up is karmas based on desires. Really, this is a big thing. And and when the karmas based on desires are given up, what happens? The raga, dvesha subside. How do they subside? Because I'm busy doing the other things. I'm busy doing nitya and naimittika karma. There is no time for all these other things. And so raga, dvesha, spurred karmas is called kamya karma. Kamya karma is nothing but those karmas that are spurred by raga and dvesha. That's why it's got the word kama in it. Kama includes raga and dvesha. This I want to gain, this I want to get rid of. So those 2 impetuses, when I take away from action, the action starts to look very different. The whole life starts to gain a new direction. This is vairagya. Then we have all these, the 6-pack. Non-reactivity, a resolved mind, letting go of the small stuff, not sweating the small stuff. And then what? Forbearance, an open mind to gaining this knowledge, the readiness and the ability to set aside the argumentative mind in order to open the mind up to have this knowledge occur in the heart. And then single-pointed focus, lack of distractions, in other words. So all this is one, the third one. It's called the six-pack. Then finally we have something called the desire for freedom, which has to be translated to desire for knowledge. So these are the four things. So the last bomb drop, which the Vivekachudamani does right at the beginning, is that it says, to quote, Eshu satsu sannishtha yad abhave natishtati. If these the six-pack and the other three are there, then this knowledge will definitely take place. If this knowledge doesn't take place, if they are not there, the knowledge will not take place. Or rather, we should refine it and say the knowledge will take place, but it will be inhibited by three factors: doubt, vagueness, and error. It will be inhibited, and it will have three kinds of inhibitions. There is a lot of doubt, it's not clear, it's vague. I know I'm Brahman, but how, when, where and why? How did I become Jiva? All these questions, how to experience it. And then error. Just don't get it correctly. Why? Because these qualifications not being there, or there is a certain inhibition in the qualifications. So then the Vivekachudamani moves on from talking about the qualifications to a certain kind of a sifting process to recognize to apply the Viveka to this knowledge itself between I and not I. We saw that. So there is a certain sifting process happening. So we begin with what is I, and of course the answer comes is this body. No, the body is an object of observation. Who is observing it? Oh, the I is the mind. No, the mind is itself an object of observation. Oh, the I must be the senses. The I must be senseless. The I must be this. The I must be that. And wherever I pinpoint this is what the I is, there is a certain kind of a negation immediately. And then I'm left with finally the Sakshi, the observer. Because you cannot negate yourself, the witness. So before, the Jiva was witless about wondering how to discover itself. Then finally it is told to grab a hold of the witness. Right? Yeah. So then this witness is what? The Sakshi, to whom all the processes of the body, mind, sense complex become evident. The one in charge of everything, the one that can never be negated, that Sakshi alone is. That Sakshi alone is identified as I. But then this is not very good. Why? Because now we are left with a duality. Correct? And what is the duality? I and not I. The witness and the witnessed. There is already a duality, so we cannot really call this knowledge non-dual. How can you call it non-dual when you have negated everything and then you're left with this hanging Sakshi, like a Christmas ornament, and this is not going to work, correct? So we are told that this is just a teaching methodology, a mere pedagogy to be able to first you do the sifting and then you do the uniting. This is the two-part, methodology. Just like if you want to show a particular star in a constellation, first you start with the moon, This is called Arundhati. The Arundhati is a star. And, Arundhati is seen by the newlyweds. They are shown this star, Arundhati. So, of course, they have never even gazed at the sky, this new couple. So they are taken by the elders and first they are shown the moon. Oh, is that Arundhati? No. Look to the left of the moon. Do you see the pole star? Oh, is that Arundhati? No, I just told you it's the pole star. How can it be Arundhati? Then you look to the, you go little left and further left and down. You see that there is a constellation. Oh, is that Arundhati? No. Just look at the brightest star in the constellation. Is that Arundhati? No. Look underneath that. Oh, there is a slightly, blinking star. Oh, that must be Arundhati. No. That is Vasishtha. The Arundhati is the one that is really dim and right next to that one. Oh, so like this one is taken through this negation, and it's this whole this na iti, neti. But the neti leaves you at a very crucial juncture. It has to be then, it has to be then united. So one is left with this Sakshi, and the Sakshi is arrived at by this whole Arundhati Nyaya, not this, look here, not this one, not that one, and look here. And then finally this Arundhati logic helps to isolate the Sakshi. And then what is this Sakshi? The witness. And what is Sakshya? The witnessed. And here is a very beautiful analysis. We have seen all this. This is a what's its name? A summary. So there's a beautiful analysis of how that which is witnessed is not separate from the witness. Oh, so the witness is the same as no. The other way it doesn't work. It's a one-way analogy, because that which is witnessed is not separate from the witness. How do I know? Because if I say this is orange, the orange cannot declare itself because it is not self-conscious, right? Yeah. Orange is not self-conscious, it cannot declare itself. So it is a dependent reality. Whereas I is self-declaratory, self-evident, effulgent. The orange cannot say orange aham asmi. No, it cannot say I am orange. I can say I am orange. It cannot say that I am orange, right? So therefore, and also if you say orange is, and then tomorrow, day after tomorrow, if you leave it here, what will happen? Orange is not, correct? But then the funny thing is, when you say is not, the isness of the orange gets transferred to, let us say, compost, right? Orange is, after a week, compost is. Then compost also is, also has a future. What is it? Another orange plant is. And that orange bush also, is not nitya. So we find that anything that I have a name and a word and a meaning for is anitya, whereas the namer is nitya. Correct? And so therefore what? So therefore we don't have to deny that the orange exists. But the orange is what we call mithya, a dependent reality. Just like clay pot. So in relation to clay, pot is a dependent reality. Pot depends on clay, rises from clay, sustains by clay, goes back unto clay. The isness of the pot does not belong to the pot, it belongs to the clay. So too the isness of the whole Jagat belongs to what? Ishvara, Brahman. First we are told Brahman. And then, the word Brahman is really synonymous with Ishvara, because we are living in a manifest universe. There is no difference. And so then the whole Jagat is, as it were, not dismissed. The Jagat means the universe. But it is transcendent. It's transcended. How? Because it is dependent on the observer. And so that was the second half, the second portion, a very big part of the Vivekachudamani, looking at the mithyatvam of the Jagat. and a lot of very persuasive arguments are there. How do I know the Jagat really exists? And there is a very nice couplet we studied. It says if it exists all the time, then it should be there all the time. If it exists, that which exists cannot be negated, it should be there all the time, right? So what happens when you go to sleep? Doesn't exist. So, Sat Chet Pratiyeta. If it is Sat, it should be there all the time. Pratiyeta means it should appear. It should have an appearance. And then Asat Chet. Sat Chet na badheta. Asat Chet Pratiyeta. If it is, if it is Sat, it should not be negated. If it is Asat, it should not have a appearance. But it has an appearance, but it has a iffy appearance. So therefore it is mithya. So the Jagat is relegated to a particular reality called mithya, which is an as though reality which is all dependent on the I. And still the teaching is not complete. The next portion of the teaching takes one to this I. The I is not some kind of an observer hanging around in this universe, observing the universe. The I is an integral part, of the Jagat. The Jagat resolves into this I, but the I is not connected to the universe, So in that sense, it is a very beautiful understanding. And then the nature of this I, through the analysis of the Upanishadic sentences, is taught as what? As the non-separate from Ishvara. That the cosmic being, the conscious being who is in charge of this universe. Charge of this universe means what? Every day there is some ache or pain. Every day karma phalas are fructifying. Every day fears are there. Every day some obstruction is there. And then every day there is karma. And the karma is, who is making this karma flow in the lives of all the jivas? Who is the one who is in charge of all this? And that is what we have to, and that is where the equation happens, that you are just that alone, that Brahman alone, which is manifest as Ishvara, which is manifest as the miserable jiva. So what is the difference between the two? And the verse that we haven't studied, which is 77 or 78, says beautifully that imagine this man wants to go, to see the king, correct? So he sees two people. One, at the door there is what is called a sentry. What is a sentry? The person, even in England they have that. They wear these hats which look like the bumblebees, Yeah. It's a sentry, and they have the change of guard. And in the olden times, their main purpose, they carried a spear and all kinds of, equipment to make sure that nobody enters the palace, the royal palace. This is the sentry. And then inside the royal palace, who is sitting? This Raja is sitting, the king is sitting, and the king has a certain get-up, right? The king has wearing a crown and scepter and all kinds of things, and sitting on a throne and gold throne and a big, something gold backdrop and lot of silk robes and, all kinds of jewelry. Like the whole jewelry shop is on him. This is the king. All gold dazzling, full of bling. Yeah. Kingly bling. And then what? And here is the servant, this poor sentry, all he has to his name is the bumblebee hat or some other get-up. That get-up is not even his. It belongs to the office, right? Yeah. And then what? Let us say, and see how the praja, Raja means king, praja means the subjects. Yeah. So, the Raja wants to go see how the praja is doing. Subjects it's a singular word for a group noun, yeah. So so he wants to see how the praja is doing, and then he sets off, but he wants to go incognito. So what does he do? He takes the clothes of the sentry, and then he wants to, he takes the clothes of the commoner or the sentry, and then he mingles among the population. And what do? They throw stones at him because it's a badly behaved kingdom, perhaps. Or perhaps he's surprised and everybody is kind and wonderful to him. Who knows? You can have either scenario. And then meanwhile the sentry who found out that, oh, there is nobody there, nobody needs to guard the door. Let's see what this palace is like. He just takes look of all these pillars studded with gold and silver, inlays and precious stones. All you have to do is scratch the walls and then you can go home rich. He just looks at all this and he couldn't resist trying the velvet cushion on the throne. Oh, it's got a nice spring. I think I'll sit down. Oh, this feels very nice because, when the cat is gone, the mouse will play. And then he tries the throne, he tries the crown, he tries all the kingly bling. And then suddenly somebody comes, unexpected. Oh, Your Honor, Your Majesty, So this is all it is. The Vivekachudamani says is that it is just a change of costume. Ishvara in the kingly bling and the Jiva in the bumbly hat, bumblebee hat. So it's a difference in clothing. So how to have some Ishvara gowns made for myself? Come to the classes, that's all. These are all stitching classes that we are having. Yeah, they really are. How to look like Ishvara, how to act like Ishvara, how to, Ishvara etiquette, Ishvara behavior, how to bring out the godliness within me. This is what it is. These are the culture classes. These are the classes that teach. This is the self-knowledge classes. You are Ishvara, but what is it that is, what is the inhibiting factor is that you have taken the gown to be yourself. Yeah. The gown doesn't, the gown is just it's just a little accoutrement. It's not you. What is in this gown and that gown? If you take away the sentry's uniform and the king's uniform, both of them are what? Purusha. Both of them are men. There's no difference between them. Nobody will even recognize them without sometimes the get-up, And so like this, the uniform is uniformly mistaken for the self. And so here the Tattvamasi and all the other Mahavakyas are taken to show in various ways how this equation is made. An equation is what's the word for it, works in a particular way by transcending the apparent difference and looking at the identity. Like 5 plus 4 is equal to 20 minus 11. What? This side single digits, plus sign, that side double digits, minus sign. How can the two be the same? Ask, say, 6-year-old, 8-year-old perhaps. And then the teacher has to explain. It's not enough for the 8-year-old to say, I believe you, madam. No. The child has to be able to see, to falsify the plus and minus sign, the single and the double digits, and not look at that and look at the underlying, not similarity, identity. So here too the gown of the jiva, the tatters of ignorance, which is called jivatvam, jivahood, which is short for hoodlum, and then you have Ishvara hood, Ishvaraness, which is the hood of knowledge really. So the knowledge and the ignorance, that is just a trapping. And when I falsify that trapping, when I see this, I understand that I am that whole which I seek to be. And then this is forms the second, second, is that a word? Second, if you divide it into three, the second, third portion of the Vivekachudamani. And the last third of the Vivekachudamani talks about, what happens after gaining this knowledge. How does the person of knowledge walk, talk, eat, drink, behave? No, that doesn't matter. That is again the outward demeanor. How does the person of knowledge conduct themselves, in other words? And that is very beautifully talked about. And a few things are pointed out. Samatvam. What is samatvam? A certain equanimity with regard to responses to situations, responses to people, where you respond to the person and you are able to, not target the person for what they have done. We are able to respond to the situation without targeting, hurting and blaming the people, but at the same time being able to tell the truth and say this is how things are. And then that is equanimity, samatvam. And the second very important thing is to not be in search of accolades, bouquets, So whether there are bouquets or brickbats, it's all one and the same. That is also another form of equanimity. Equanimity with reference to my own behavior to the world, and then secondly, equanimity with reference to my responses to other people's behavior towards me. If somebody treats me nicely, I say, oh, this is wonderful. And if somebody treats me badly, I say, no, I don't want to have anything to do with you. No, that is not an option. For who? Ajnani. There is nobody to avoid because they're all you. Who are you going to avoid? Who are you going to not like or like? It's all you. So there is no approach avoid. So that is the second thing. And the third thing, which the Vivekachudamani also talks about as a jnani here is called Jivan Mukta. While living, he or she is free of all kinds of the burden of ignorance which gives rise to wrong understanding and identification with the body-mind-sense complex. And the misidentification is the problem here, is the problem of ignorance. Where there is rope, one sees what? Snake. This is the problem. And so the first problem is not knowing who I am. Second, my problem is mistaking myself to be the dress that I am wearing. And so both those problems gone, that person is called Jivan Mukta. So then the third, lakshana of a Jivan Mukta, lakshana means characteristic. Here is the fact that if somebody is mean to them, if somebody is mean, the person will not react. Yeah. There is no vengefulness. Again, because there is no separation. And even at the level of jiva, if you even if you see that, okay, this person, there is no separation. And even if a person is raving, ranting and behaving badly, there is the reason is usually psychological. Some disorder is there, some fear is there, some helplessness is there. That doesn't mean the Jivan Mukta will stand there and take it. One can remove, quietly remove oneself from the situation, but at the same time not retaliate and make things worse. So this is the Jivan Mukta. Then finally there is an interesting discussion about whether the person of knowledge has karma or not. Yes? No? Maybe? No. One would say no, correct? Otherwise what's the point of studying this? And it is corroborated in the Gita as well. Jnanagni sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute. The fire of knowledge burns up all karma. How many kinds of karma are there?
Three.
What are they?
Agami.
Agami karma, karma that is done in this life. And what else? Sanchita, the collected body of karma from many lifetimes, right? That is called, it's a big ball of karma in a secret bank account whose number you don't know is Sanchita. And what is the third kind of karma? Prarabdha. What is that? A little dough of the Sanchita that is kneaded into this particular shape in this particular life. So the karma that is the cause of this particular incarnation for you, and with all the things that are there, how many years one is going to live, what diseases one may have, who one is going to marry, the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, the sixth time. Well, we should stop. And so who all one is going to marry, how many children. Prarabdha karma. In fact, that which has given rise to this body is called prarabdha karma. So now we can see how the agami karma is not there for the jnani, correct? Agami karma means what? The karma that is being performed in this, because the person doesn't say, I am the doer. The doership is gone from whom? Right? And then so therefore what? There is no agami karma. And what about sanchita karma? The karana sharira, which is what? The body of ignorance, which caused there to be sanchita, is gone. Correct? What about prarabdha? Not gone? Okay. Gone? Not gone? Okay, so we have kutadvayam, means two parties. Some people say gone, some people say not gone. So prarabdha is that which gave rise to the body of the jnani. If the prarabdha is gone, then how come you still see the body of the jnani hanging around? So by this token you can say prarabdha is not understanding. It's not the ultimate understanding. Because the prarabdha is not gone, who is saying? The jnani or the ajnani? Ajnani is saying. The person who is yet to gain this knowledge or in the process of gaining this knowledge says, okay, prarabdha is there because the body is there. The body continues to eat, drink and do its things, walk and all these things. Body needs food, the body of the jnani. And so you can say the prarabdha is there. Thank God the prarabdha is there. Because otherwise already there are so few people interested in Vedanta. And then what will happen? As soon as you gain the knowledge, you go, I see it, I know, I am that. Gone. Who will come to learn? And then besides, there won't be any teachers, because as soon as somebody who could teach saw this, immediately, they went straight away to God. And then so how can there be students? How can there be a Guru Shishya Parampara, the Guru Shishya endless, cycle, which is from Dakshina, starting with Dakshinamurti? How can there be anything? Cannot be. So therefore what? So therefore, thank God, we can say, even from the Ajnani's point of view, that the prarabdha doesn't go. Because that's an extra incentive for the person who doesn't know to. There is no nuclear. Everything goes. This is the body is part of each. Srishti goes, meaning my own subject. From the point of view of those who do not have this knowledge, who see the jnani, happily attacking a 5-course meal. The jnani is eating this because there is prarabdha. Now, from the standpoint of the jnani herself himself, where is the prarabdha? Because if there is no identification with the body as me and mine, and this is the be all and end all of who I am, then there is no prarabdha, because the doership is gone. And the false identification with myself as the body is gone. So the body is something like a dry leaf that hangs out, and and then goes according to its karma. It goes whenever it needs to. It may be rounded up by the very meticulous yard raker and put in a bin, and then a big gust of wind opens the bin and it may just fly off somewhere to the neighbor's yard. From there it may go somewhere else. If you just ask the biography of a dried leaf, it has no resistance. And so too the jnani goes through this world without resistance, without resisting anything, just goes through this world. And it's very beautiful, and then is very childlike, not childish, childlike in the sense of being, being in awe, being wondrous about everything, because everything is indeed a wonder. So then, the Shishya, remember this started as a Guru-Shishya thing. The Shishya goes to the Guru, says, I don't know anything, I'm scared, I'm having a panic attack. Guru says, don't worry, I'll give you an anti-anxiety pill. Its name is Vivekachudamani, and you take that and you'll be fine. And then the pill is given, and then the Shishya gains this knowledge. And then what? The Shishya says, Kritakrityoham. I have nothing more to do. Because, it's a wonderful thing to say. It's not coming out of a sense of depression, oh, I have nothing to do. No. Here, I have nothing that I need to gain, because, and the only people who can say it is those who have gained what they have come here to gain, which is their own self, really. So I have nothing more to gain, I have nothing more to pursue, because what I wanted, I have already got. And then what? And then dhanyoham, kritakrityoham. And then, I'm blessed, dhanya, blessed, we saw that in the Thanksgiving, in Dhanyashtakam. I'm blessed, I'm free, and, thanks the teacher, and gets up, and leaves, because the teaching is now complete. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Any questions?
What is Shishya again?
Shikshana Yogyaha, the one that is, it means student, but there are three kinds of students. One is Antevasi, the one who lives with the teacher, and just because you live with a teacher doesn't mean anything, and then the other one is Vidyarthi, the one who is desirous of the knowledge, and Shishya is the one who is capable of really studying. That means student, yeah. That is Shishya. Other questions?
Yeah. So I can know my own observer.
Yeah.
And I can see that there's an observer underneath the rolls and the karmas here. This one we'll call Adele.
Right.
And and then as it gets bigger, and we include China, my mind starts to go. So the metaphor for that is that the one light with the dome that's got lots of holes in it? Is that the metaphor for that?
That's a very good. Or a disco light. Anything that works.
Or which?
A disco light. A disco ball which distorts. There's only one source of light, but then you see so many, because of all these little mirrors on it, you see that it is, all over. So many balls, so many lights. So one light which goes through many, that's what is Atma. So it doesn't matter if it's China or Australia, whatever it is. Yeah. Ready?
Mm-hmm. Well, I thought so. Good.
It's hard because the ceiling, sometimes it goes all the way to the ceiling. So that was the Vivekachudamani, very beautiful text. And then in the You had questions? Yeah, ask right there. So, in the live stream, the other classes that are there, you have to remove those. Yeah, remove those before it.
From the advertise.
Yeah, so that it doesn't show upcoming because
Yeah.
there's nothing to come up. Nitya nimitta karmas or unavoidable karmas, can we say they are good as they are the infrastructure for jnana prapti? Yeah, you can say that. Infrastructure means preparation, yeah. Because they keep you busy from doing what you're not supposed to do, which is good. Good question, very nice. Yes.
And so the mask of the Dadi and the Adele single observer is roles
Roles.
and
Yeah.
karma, which
Yes,
helps
both.
create the roles?
Yes.
Or,
Yeah, karma helps
Okay.
create the
am I
roles.
missing anything?
No. Perfect.
Hmm.